Hi guys, I hope you're good, I hope you're well and excited for our lesson today. We are still doing factorization and we are doing the last part of factorization today, which is factorizing third degree polynomials. So those are polynomials that their highest power is 3. And now we need to learn how to factorize those polynomials. Okay, so guys, the first part of our lesson looks at what methods can we actually use to factorize the third degree polynomials? So there are various methods that we can make use of whenever we want to factorize third degree polynomials. The factor theorem, so we can make use of the factor theorem with an aid of an inspection, because you can actually inspect values just looking at them and understand the next value. Remember guys, we have already factorized using the difference of two squares. We factorized other polynomials before, but now we need you to bring that skill to use it here in order to factorize third degree polynomials. And also inspection is very important. So besides inspection, or we can also use the long division method. So the long division method is also one easy way to factorize third degree polynomials. So guys, this is not just, we still have more. These are not the only tools that we can use. We can also still use synthetic division. There are many different ways that we can use to factorize. So if you are not familiar with the long division or synthetic division, or even how to factorize using inspection, please go back to our previous lessons. You will see all of those methods of how to use the long division, how to use the synthetic division method. So we use all of those tools to help us factorize what we call third degree polynomials. Okay, now the first example has this polynomial there for you, which is specifically a trinomial. So we use the factor theorem to factorize x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared plus 4 completely. We need to factorize this value completely. So now, a reminder of what a factor theorem is. If you can go to also our previous lesson, it is there, but I'm going to just give you for free this time around. Okay, so the factor theorem, guys, is when wherever we're trying to use, we test every value. So we can test from 1, 2, 3, any whole number, also negative number. So we actually test integers into a polynomial, and it must give us 0 as a remainder. So it means whatever value that you've used, it is now a factor. For example, if I decide to test, for example, 1 and it gives me 0, if I now substitute 1 into every value there and it gives me 0, so it means 1 is a factor. If I test 2 and it gives me a number, a whole number, for example 4, then it is not a factor. Okay, so now let's try to test a few numbers and see if we are going to find the factor. So yes, using the factor theorem, you are actually doing trial and error. Okay, so now let's try to test x equals to x minus 1. So if you have x minus 1, it means you're simply saying this is x equals 1. Now let's try x equals 1 there. So if you open the bracket, 1 to the power of 3 minus 3, you open another bracket, you have 1 to the power of 2 plus 4. So let's try to add that. If you have your calculator with you, you can try it, but it's going to be 1 minus 3 plus 4. So 1 minus 3 alone is going to give you a minus 2 plus 4. Already that is a negative 2. It gives us, it's a positive 2. It gives us a remainder. So x equals 1 is not a factor. So we need to try another number. So let's try another value. We clear that, try another value. So if we try now, let's just try the opposite, x plus 1. So let's try x plus 1. So if I have x plus 1, so I'm saying this is x equals negative 1. So let's try to substitute in negative 1 and see if it's going to give us 0. So if I have negative 1 to the power of 3 minus 3 negative 1 squared plus 4. If I test that, this is negative 1, then that's a negative there. So this is going to be minus 3 as it is plus 4. and you can see that already I have -4 plus 4, which gives me a 0. So definitely we have x plus 1 as a factor. So if you have x plus 1 as a factor, you already managed to work with one part. So I'm going to clear this part and remind you that we are not done. We're trying to factorize this value completely. Okay, so at this point we have x plus 1 as a factor. But remember, we need to still write values there, a squared plus b plus ab plus, let me use b, yes, plus b squared, as we are still having values that we are missing, right? So now this is how it's done. We can use the long division method, or we can use the synthetic division method for us to find the next factorizable values. Okay, so it means I will divide. You remember the long divisions that you were working with grade 1, grade 2. We use it here, but a bit differently now. We are going to use the same long division method, but the thing is now we are doing algebra and you have x, y thrown around. So we are going to be using it now. So I will show you now how to use the long division method. Okay, so we are going to divide x plus 1 into x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared plus 4. And this is how it's done, guys. So you're going to write your x, here's my pen, okay, so you're going to divide x plus 1, you divide x plus 1 by what? See, this is how I used to do it in grade 1. So, and then x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared plus 4. So you first divide x by x to the power of 3, so you're going to get x to the power of 2. And we're going to multiply now x to the power of 3 times x to the power of 2. We're going to have x to the power of 3. 1 multiplied by x to the power of 2. This is going to be plus x to the power of 2. And then you draw a line. You need to subtract. So introduce a negative sign. If you introduce a negative sign, this becomes negative, and this becomes also negative there. So say this x to the power of 3 minus x to the power of 3, that gives you a 0, and you have a minus x to the power of 2 minus x to the minus 3x to the power of 2 is going to give a minus 4x squared. And then we have plus 4, we drop it down, so it is going to be plus 4. You continue, you repeat the same process. You say x divides this value there. So x will divide minus 4x squared, so your answer is going to be minus 4x. So and then you multiply x times negative 4x. So when you multiply x multiplied by negative 4x, this is going to be a negative 4x squared. And 1 multiplied by negative 4x, 1 multiplied by negative 4x is going to be negative 4x. And then you're going to draw a line again. Once you draw a line like that, you will say you introduce a negative sign, so this changes into plus, this also changes into plus, and then you're going to be left, this cancels that, so you have a 0 there. What is left? You're left with 4x plus 4, and you repeat the process again, x divided by 4x. So you divide x by 4x, you are left with plus 4, and x multiplied by 4 will be 4x. 1 multiplied by 4 will be a plus 4, and then you introduce a negative sign, so it means you subtract the two values. This becomes negative, and also that becomes negative, and 4x minus 4 will be 0, and 4 minus 4 is also another 0. So if you have remainder 0, there you have another factor up there. So it means at this point you have x plus 1, a bracket of x plus 1, and another bracket of x squared minus 4x plus 4. And guys, if you look at the second bracket, you can still factorize the second bracket. And now it's just a normal trinomial with the highest degree being 2. So now you can use the method that we've used in our previous lesson of opening two brackets, finding factors of the first term and the last term, right? So now let's try to do it. Now, I'm going to rewrite x plus 1 there and open two brackets like that. Factors of the first term is x and x. Factors of the last term will be 2 and 2. Now, about signs. Which signs do I use to get a positive 4 and also achieve a negative 4 whenever I add them? Will be negative and negative. Now, you have managed to factorize completely, but there is something special that you see there. These two look the same. So you can easily write it in this form: x plus 1 and x minus 2 all squared. So you get all your 3, 4 marks or more if you've used the long division method, or if you used the synthetic division, or any method of dividing that you prefer, okay? Or you may have used inspection if you are able to do inspection also. So there are many ways of doing this, guys, but I had to show you how to do the long division, and trust me, it's one of the best methods that works out there, because the first value that you find and also what remains on top, those are your factors, and you can easily factorize the trinomial that you found on top there. Okay, now let me do another example for you, and now we won't even use long division or synthetic division. We will simply use we are simply going to use inspection. So it says, use the factor theorem to determine all the factors of the following expression. So I have x to the power of 3 plus x to the power of 2 minus 17x plus 15. Now, the first thing that I told you about the factor theorem is you need to attempt values, right? So it means you need to try to substitute in any value. So it means it's a trial and error method basically. Now, if you substitute in x plus, if you use x plus 1, you substitute in there, you will find yourself with a remainder. However, if you use x minus 1, I always start with x plus 1 and then go to x minus 1 because it always works out properly. So one factor, guys, that you will find 0 with is x minus 1. Okay, so if you substitute in x minus 1 there, you will find 0. Now, the second factor that we found after dividing, so we can use either the long division or synthetic division or by inspection. So since now we're doing it by inspection, so the next factor that we're going to have will be x to the power of 2 plus 2x minus 15. So it is crucial that you bring up your tools of factorization here, guys. Once you've managed to find the first part and it gave you 0, and then you use your long division to find the second part, bring up now your normal factorization skills. So here we're trying to factorize this trinomial here. And how do we factorize a trinomial? We simply say, well, let's just bring down x minus 1. Now for the second part, we just open two brackets like that. And we're trying to find factors of the first term. It will be x and x. Now, factors of the last term, that when you add or subtract them, they must give you a positive 2. Factors of 15, that when you add or subtract them, they give you a positive 2. So that should be 5 and 3. Now, what matters now, it is the signs. So since we're trying to create a positive number, so it means the bigger number must have a positive sign while the other value has a negative sign. So guys, what you have there is a fully factorized polynomial of your third degree. That is how you factorize polynomial of the third degree. Use long division, synthetic division, inspection, any method that works for you to factorize these third degree polynomials. Okay, so thank you for joining me on this lesson today, and guys, please practice, and trust me, all of these things will be easy. See you on the next one.